breeze blowing, storm clouds moving in. Whatever's gonna happen, it's about to begin. I remember what the drunk donkey told me when he said, son, don't fear. Mike's where the page life is about to begin. Then he's gonna tell you about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you which way it's going, if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news that they try to hide. Just click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. There'll always be some haters, but they don't understand that Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend, Mike, he's your man. Then he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Look on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nation Pride.
All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. It's a hot one out there today, but it's Friday. For those of you that get weekends off, it's Friday. I always wonder about that when people celebrate the weekend, but yet it might not be your weekend. So you're like, well, it's not my Friday, so it should be TGIM. For Monday. If you get off on Tuesday, it's TGIM. But we'll stick to TGIF today. All right, this is Louie, the host of the show, the original. Louie's 5 years old now. We've been holding Louie now for 5 years on our little daily brew. So he's become family, right, Miss Shelley? Either my head looks big or his looks big. I think it's like I get him closer to the camera, so it makes me look like a little pinhead. I'm a conehead. Anyway, good morning. This is our Daily Brew little show. We talk weather every Monday through Friday at 9:19 Eastern. Sometimes we're off when there's stuff going on in the boiling world. But most of the time, it's Monday through Friday. And we chat weather. And when the tropics are busy, we talk a lot of weather. Tropics are slow right now. We're going to talk about the new CSU, Colorado State University outlook that came out yesterday. That's the big topic of today's little show. Kind of surprising news to me. Breaking news, I thought. So we'll get into all that here in a minute. Be patient. But it is Friday here in our little world, so that means ABC is going to be our destination later. So if you live in Florida, don't forget to support our good friends at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Florida's family-owned and operated, oldest in the state since 1936. My dad used to pick me up from post-school. I said preschool. He has preschool, but it was after school. So what do you call preschool that's after school? Well, anyway, he would stop at the Bradenton ABC. I remember growing up and run in real quick and get his goodies for the weekend. Anyway, what's up, Miss Kitchen? How's it going down south? It's hot down south. So the heat. All right, so we had hot temperatures today. I was driving. Julie and I were in the car this morning, and it was 86 degrees on our thermometer. Talking to my dad. He lives in Palm Harbor. His thermometer said 85. I post online that it was 85 in Oldsmar, and I had a bunch of naysayers say it's only 80, 81, 82. So I felt like I kind of fibbed a little bit. So it was actually 85 in Palm Harbor. And I went on my Tempest weather station map, and I found 3 households in Palm Harbor that were around 84, 85 degrees. So, I don't want to be a hyper, man. I was like, oh man, I sound like I'm hyping the heat. It was hot. But when your 85-year-old dad says he doesn't remember temperatures being in the 80s, you got to post it because it was starting to rain. Anyway. So what's up with Miss Gail? How's it going? Love Louie. Louie's my man. Trisha, good morning. And 85, I believe it. We had some heavy rain. What's up, Mr. Eric? Eric, I saw your video there with the Mopars with the flags. That was really nice. I'd love to get down there sometime. I did a big wash on ours yesterday. Complained a little bit, though, to the car wash because the tire dressing is a little thick. And I've noticed the last couple times I've come home from the car wash, I have to wash the car by hand. So that's kind of silly to pay for a car wash and then I end up washing it. That's God's way of telling me I need to exercise. Oh, so hey, we're streaming live on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. We got a great family of weather fans. I do a ton of interviews and stuff now. It's crazy. It's like 1 a week, 2 a week. But they always ask, "You ever get tired of it?" I'm like, "No." I've like I said, if I leave here tomorrow, I've loved every minute of interaction, meeting people. Doesn't matter where we go. Our weather family is the best, and I'm talking like flying up to see snow in Gatlinburg and meeting fans, or going on a cruise and meeting fans, or being in the Bahamas and meeting fans, and then getting a picture with this gentleman. And his mom told me that he wanted to be a meteorologist, and then a couple years later, Mom sends a picture and says that he got accepted for meteorology, and I was his inspiration. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So yeah, I met a few fans of the Rays game this week. It was probably more fun meeting them than watching the Rays lose. Rays need a win. So Kristen over there asking about Threads. I don't know if they're going to let us go live or not. Man, it's just too many platforms for me. I like the big 3, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook right now. TikTok's probably my favorite. James, 919, you must be new. It was a race with the bus stop. I used to do 9. The bus stop came for Sarah like at 8:55. Never was on time. So I went to 9:05, and then the bus route got rerouted to 9:01, and I could never do it. So I'm like, 919 looked kind of catchy. Made a little logo, 919, and there we go. The rest is history. Somebody's tuning in right now wondering if this is a real dog or not. He's real. He's the man. All right, I gotta let him down. All right, so let's talk a little about weather. I did a little YouTube video. I do have a YouTube channel, in case you didn't know. Right here. Whoa, what are you guys doing? Hunter, are you jealous? Here, come here. All right, he ran away. He wants to play. He's gonna bark. So I do have a YouTube channel right here. MWP YouTube channel. I did a little special 15-minute video yesterday on the CSU new outlook. So I use clickbait a little bit. I figured out you got to use a little clickbait to get people to watch it. That's just the way it goes. But Carolyn, good morning from Chicago. NASCAR was just up there, and man, that was an exciting week. I bet you that was an exciting time for y'all to have NASCAR there. Do they still race at Joliet? I don't even know. They used to have a racetrack up there in Chicago. Mr. Sherman, how's it going? Dry out there. David from Jacksonville. Been over to the big bridges in Jacksonville before. Big old bridges. Rebecca from Savannah. I love Savannah. We camped there at a place called... Hell, I don't even remember now. It's out in the outskirts. Had a cool little lazy river. Jessica says the heat is tremendous. I believe it. That's right, Joel Harrison. Corpus Christi, Texas. Is it Lambs? I bet it's raining. You got some golf blob action. Thank you, Tom. Yep, Cat 5. Appreciate your support, buddy. Michelle says, like, panic on the clickbait. I know. I hate doing it. It's the only way it works. You got to have, TikTok especially. But it's not wrong. It says 9 hurricanes coming. Not at once. I guess that might be misleading. That was pretty bad. I haven't got called out yet on it. I feel like I'm trying to break into that. All right, so here's the CSU. All right, so let's get right into it. So here we go. I'll just leave it up on the screen. Let's see if I can make it a little bigger. Look at that magic. I just made it bigger. Connie from Nashville. Oh, I love Nashville, man. I partied there a few times. Great place. So we're going to talk about the heat a little bit. How's my buddy Yohel been doing over there in YouTube land? I haven't seen you in a while, man. Base is going to scallops. And, hey, we don't really have... There's really no... The only thing we got weather-wise we'll get into here after this is there's a big blob. There's 2 lines right now coming across very impressive mesoscale style lines, bow and almost derechos, but that's going on in the middle part of the U.S. That old system is going to actually reach down into the upper Gulf Coast, East Coast Sunday. So we'll get into that in a second. There is some nasty storms coming Sunday for the South. Not Florida Peninsula, but maybe the upper Gulf and especially the East Coast. So if you got weekend plans in the East Coast dipping down to the upper Gulf Coast, you're going to want to keep an eye on that. But hey, Phil, thanks for the tidbit, man. I didn't know they didn't race there anymore. I knew they built it. They built all these cookie cutter tracks. Remember that era where they built all these 1.5-mile tracks? They were boring as hell. MT Mapes, thank you, buddy. Brenton Buford. I know where that one's at. Is that the home of the chalkboard? R.E. Riggs, good morning. Good morning, Trent. How you been, brother? George wants all fish storms this season. Well, that would be good. Sam, I have heard of the Gainesville split. I believe it's definitely something to do with something. I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's talk about this real quick, and I'll say hi to people. I love saying hi to everybody. All right. So anyway, everybody laughs. First and foremost, everybody laughs when, and I used to laugh too. I didn't know any better. I was like, Colorado. Why the hell are they Colorado predicting hurricanes? It doesn't make sense, right? Well, the top. Well, I even have their link right here. Check it out, CSU. Right here, first one, CSU. If you click on CSU, they actually have a great tropical division at Colorado State University, and you get a lot of stuff, a lot of data, forecasting, researching. So, it's just with one of the top sites for tropics, and their forecasts are pretty much the official forecasts when you hear media coverage. That's where they go. So anyway, they upped their overall season predictions. Now they're calling for 18 storms. Now that includes the 4 that we've already had. There was some confusion when I posted 14 more. They're like, more than what? so there's 14 more than the 4 we've already had. So they're expecting 14 more storms this season, beginning with Dawn. I already put a post out this morning. We had a system in January. The next name on the list is Dawn. It's actually going to be our 5th storm of the year. Following Dawn is going to be Emily, my daughter. Water temps. Oh, my God. I know we're going to talk about water temps, Adam. Ben from South Carolina, good morning. James, I got some softball highlights for you, buddy. Yes, Bobby's from Alaska. I know, right? I'm the only weather person that lives in Florida. Maybe I'm the dumb one. I need to get the heck out of town. They know something we don't know. So this is a little significant. So the thing that was shocking to me is that they're predicting 9 hurricanes. We haven't had one yet, so they're still predicting 9 hurricanes this season, with 4 of those being major. That's pretty bold. So, there's a lot of science behind it. Another thing they added is if you follow ACE, accumulated energy, basically the amount of energy cyclones produce, they have a new parameter they're showing west of 60 degrees, which would indicate areas that could be non-fish storms. Fish storms is a term that usually means that the storms are going to curve away from everybody. But we have people in Bermuda, we have people in Nova Scotia, so we're very careful saying fish storms if they affect somebody other than you. But anyway, they have a new parameter this year called ACE west of 60, which is, closer to land, Caribbean, east or westward. So anyway, they're contributing this to the water, mainly. Water temperatures are almost, I think I've been reading record, like last month, June, record temperatures. So the water temperatures are in a league of their own, and that is the big unknown. So remember last year, third year La Nina, they predicted a very active season, and we ended up being normal. However, it only takes one, and that is the most important sentence of all tropical meteorology. It only takes one, because people get wrapped up in numbers, Oh, the forecast was a lot of storms. We only ended up normal. Well, we still had Ian and Nicole and Fiona. Those were very devastating storms. And we had that biggest, driest spell ever last year. The whole month of July and August, we had nothing last year. You remember? Everybody's like, what the heck's going on? The tropics are over. And then, boom, we had a very active September, October, November. And that's probably what's going to happen. RE rigs, I don't know what the ACE is now. It's around 2, I think. 2.9 maybe? I don't know. Phil, I read that article. Phil's talking about the sulfur. I mentioned it the other day. There's a link. Also, 2 years ago, I remember that one too, Carol. There's an interesting article about the new emissions. I don't know if it's emissions. Is that the right word? But anyway, it's a lot to do with the shipping industry, and they've changed. I think it's emissions, but it has something to do with what the sulfur, and there's theory that that actually cooled the ocean. Now there's theory that it could be adding and increasing the temperature. It's a good article. I read it. New guidelines were put in place 2 years ago, and now they're wondering if that's connected to this rise in Atlantic waters. ACE is very confusing. 82 is the amount of energy on this side of 60 degrees. Total ACE, so they're, basically split. Look at 160, 80. So they're considering a lot of the storms could recurve away from 60, meaning, half of the storms are going to be west of 60. That's just their theory. I mean, a lot of this is based on history, where the water temps are, conditions now. Usually it's pretty good track record on what they're seeing. But the big takeaway is that it's not going to be a slow season. And El Nino was supposed to be strong, and there's big question marks on when it actually kicks in. El Nino. So now the consensus is that the warm water is going to win the battle over El Nino, meaning the warmer water will be a bigger player than El Nino. And El Nino is very sporadic. So storms are going to be able to develop around El Nino effects. And there'll be little windows of opportunity for storms to develop. El Nino isn't constant. El Nino fluctuates with the shear. So, oh my God, Harold just broke a tooth. I have a funny tooth story for you. When The Red Cross did their hurricane special from our house. We were invited to a big Red Cross function in Tampa, and I'll never forget this. I don't know why. I was supposed to speak, and I must have been nervous, and I had a salad with Julie, and I actually bit down on the damn fork. So I bit down on the fork, chipped my damn tooth. And I'm like, why did I just bite down as hard as I can on this fork? And I'll never forget that. It hurt. Ugh. Bite metal. Ugh. Ah, Joe, you're welcome. Yeah, we talk about that. So yeah, late August was Andrew. You know, I've been showing a lot about 2004. 2004 didn't begin until August. We had nothing. There was not even a storm until August in 2004. I want to show you. Oh, and then listen. You're never gonna. I don't talk politics. Listen, the world is. I don't even want to say it. The world is nutty right now. Like, I don't even turn the news on anymore. I love weather. I love drinking beer. I love hurricane beer, available at Tampa Bay Brewing Company. I love watching softball with Emily. And I don't get into anything else. But this is. I just thought this was. I saw it on Twitter today, and I've been hearing a lot about it. Global temperatures the last 4 days have been record heat. Now I don't know how far back it goes. I know that's the argument, but it's being discussed. I just want to bring that up. If you're into that kind of stuff, apparently the last 4 days have been the hottest on record globally. So whatever. I don't know anything more than that. I'm not a climate guy. I don't pretend to be. I just know it's hot out there. I get this question all the time, about climate change. I'm like, I don't know. I just know if you look at the last 30 years, I don't know what it was like 500 years ago. I'm just talking about now because that affects hurricanes. So I use this map a lot. This is a good one. This is a monthly. So let's first talk about some anomalies, which I love talking about. This is the 30-year average, like we talked about. This is your 30-year averages. Ooh, I wish I had water up here. Sometimes I need to drink water, but I don't have any water up here. I do have water. Look at this little secret bottle just for some reason. I hope that's water in there. Didn't have my water today. So if we look at this map right here, this is whites are normal for the last 30 years, reds above normal. Okay. I am going to click on other years, and let's just go to, this is the same as the YouTube video yesterday, but not everybody watched the YouTube video. We go back to this time. Let's look at, all right, let's just go back to June. All right, so this is June. This is what it looks like right now. This is what the big discussion is. The Gulf's already back above normal again. The big discussion is how hot the water is. And I'm going to leave it right here. This is the Cape Verde Islands. So this is hot. Now let's go back to the islands. All right, let's go back to last year in June. Here's June last year. Not quite as hot. 20 was the most active season ever. Let's go back to June of 20. It's fairly warm. Not very warm in the Gulf. These are your anomaly maps. Let's go back to 18. 18 was Michael and Florence, and that was an El Nino year. Here was June in 18. Look at that. Florence, remember, formed way out here and ended up coming to the East Coast. And this was an El Nino year. So the Gulf in 18 wasn't anything like it is now. It was still cool in June. But the big year that we're going to show here is 2004. Let's go to 2004. Because there's a lot of similarities this year. And there's 2004. So you can tell the water was, kind of normal back in June of 2004. Now we go to now. Boom. That's a huge difference. Now, again, these are just taking 30-year averages, not anything other than the fact that when we had 2004, the waters were this. Now the waters are this. Hot water fuel systems. And that's just kind of what they're going off of. Now, some other interesting tidbits here I want to talk about is El Nino. I thought this was fascinating. I don't think anybody's really brought this up yet. Man, that water tasted good. Who doesn't love a good IPA? How many IPA drinkers we got out there? I love IPA. Good morning, Jamie. It was 91 water temp in Clearwater today. Rays lost again, Adam. I know. What's going on? Now they got to play the Braves. Oh, I just took it off. Paul, 2005. Okay, we can do that, buddy. Let's look at 5. I forgot 5 was, there's June 2005. So you can see all these years are kind of normal in June. So the big question is going to be, does it even out? You know, this is what, but this was a surprise. This was, so if you're asking why was I surprised about the CSU update yesterday, it was because I thought the waters might have been evening out. Evening. It's like lightning and lightning. I thought they were evening out. Leveling out. How about that? And with El Nino coming, I would have thought maybe they would have reduced some numbers, but they actually added numbers. So getting close to peak season. There's June, by the way, of 05. All right, so here's some stuff I want to talk about real quick. Historical information. Now, for you techies out there, this is interesting to me. Let me just make it bigger. I love the power. This will bring back memories, right? I love the power. What show was that? As I had to crush with the Tool Time girls in their little jeans. Oh, sorry. Loretta Reed, you're going to yell for the Braves. Oh, okay. I remember Jamie knows. Home Improvement. God, I used to love it. Shelley. That was such a great show, man. I don't really watch a lot of shows right now, but it was fun. I look forward to it. I used to go to St. Pete Junior College, and my mom would record it on Tuesdays, and I always remember she recorded it for me back in the VCR days. Have you ever tried to call your mom or dad and try to explain how to program a VCR? I think I used... The last time I lost my temper was trying to teach my mom how to program a VCR. And we have any teenagers right now said, what's a VCR? George Swagger asks a great question. Does the Gulf Stream influence storm intensity? 100%. Direction? I've got theories on that. There's no scientific proof, but there's been an awful lot of storms get close to the Florida East Coast and magically almost ride that Gulf Stream up towards the eastern seaboard. You don't know. You know, thunderstorms were influenced by hot pockets, cold pockets. I've talked to many people that live around even NASA that tell me that sea breeze storms avoid certain areas based on heat domes. So, man, you know, it would make sense why Cape Canaveral studies, and Shelley confirmed this, that NASA picked Cape Canaveral because it never got hit by a hurricane. I don't know the story. I need to Google that, but I've heard it from several people that NASA did their research, and they determined that area never gets hit with hurricanes. Maybe the Gulf Stream, you know, and the Cape's high enough up that you're not going to really get a storm coming across like South Florida. It would take a weird Bermuda high. You know, I know Gene and Francis were darn close. Blockbuster Video. I used to love going to Blockbuster. All right, so here's a rotary phone. God, I remember dialing on a rotary phone, man, and getting like to the last number and messing up. It's like, oh, I gotta do it again. Dorian was one. Matthew was another. Isaiah wasn't really a strong storm, but Matthew was a big one. Matthew was the one that kind of rode that Gulf Stream. But George, I talk a lot about loop currents and loop eddies. Huge influencer on storm intensification. Rapid intensification in the Gulf rides the Gulf Stream a lot. Logan, hey buddy, wants to know if I have any map links that show surface water temperatures off Southwest Florida. Yeah, I think there's two things you could look at. Probably just the buoys, you think, Logan? I got a buoy map down here in the bottom. Right here. Boop, boop, boop. I was looking at it today, as a matter of fact. So if you do the buoys, I bet you can do what you want with the buoys. Oh yeah, 100%, Logan. And I got something else for you, Logan, over there on YouTube. This is a great buoy link site. You can look at all kinds of data on these buoys. They'll open up into a new window. There's your pressure. 29.98, 85.6. There you go. So there you go. And then, of course, I show this link all the time. This one right here. This is your Gulf Stream loop eddy map. And it shows you basically the current placement of the Gulf Stream. So your Gulf Stream loop currents are straight line. Your loop eddies are when they finally break off and they drift 1 to 2. I've never been a fat guy until I started doing presentations. Loop eddies have the ability to travel westward 1 to 2 miles a day. Their currents can reach staggering depths of 1 to 2,000 feet below the surface of the ocean. Models are not showing anything. Aviation team. Nope. Tropics are quiet. That's kind of why I'm not talking about it. You can bet that if you go to any of my posts. Hey, great news, by the way, on Twitter. Great news. The API, long story short, someone tagged someone that works at Twitter. And I can't believe it because Elon followed this guy, and I realized it, and I Googled it, and he does work at Twitter. And he messaged me, and they're working on it. So that's pretty awesome. Kiki, what's up? I love your name, Kiki. I don't know why. Every time I see Kiki, I get excited. I think of Tiki. If I had a kid, my name was Kiki, I'd name my kid Tiki. Tiki Kiki. That'd be Tiki Kiki. I just lost another fan. All right, so let me get into some weird sciencey stuff here. All right, so this is so cool. I love talking El Nino. Years ago I joke about it. I used to do this show and I didn't know. I'm a self-taught social mediaologist. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm self-taught. Proud of it. Anybody can learn anything, right? I've learned a lot. But when they talk about El Nino and La Nina, they measure an area out in the Pacific. They measure a region of the Pacific, basically. And when that temperature in the Pacific is below an average that they consider average, we experience La Nina, which is blue. These numbers are how much below that average should be, or that they determine. So if it's 0, that means that spot in the Pacific is normal. If that spot in the Pacific is 0.5 this shows the Celsius probably, but if it's 0.5 degrees, I can't say Celsius because I'm American. I don't know what a centimeter is, even though I went to college. All I know is kilometers. I used to impress my friends in school because I would drive my dad's car and I'd switch it to kilometers because they thought we were going a whole lot faster than we really were. I'll just leave it at that. But any blue number here is below that number that's normal, and that indicates that we're in a La Nina here in the Atlantic side. So anyway, we're expected to be in El Nino in red soon. But what I thought was interesting, March, April, May, June. All right, so April, May, June, we're only a half a degree above that normal. So we're not quite in El Nino yet. It would take 0.5 plus to be considered El Nino. And then I've been reading it takes a little time to feel the effects of El Nino. So as we near the peak of season, we're really not in these big numbers that we've seen in the past. Now, I will bring up something here. What is interesting? Look at 18. It was a slight El Nino, but nonetheless, it was about 1 degree above normal when we had Michael. 15 was the most strongest El Nino to date. We still have Joaquin, and that was a devastating hurricane for the Bahamas. And again, 2004, it was a light El Nino. But 2004, we were in red. 2005 was more neutral. So the bottom line with this whole El Nino thing, I don't know. I think they're worried about the water being so warm, is what I'm getting at. Past El Nino years, we've still had major hurricanes. But we haven't seen water this hot. That's what I'm getting at. Hot water. Hey, you know what? By the end of the season, we'll know. Hopefully it's a bust, right? Hopefully it'll be like, well, we got to start back at square one again. Because last year was third year La Nina. See blue. 20 was a record year. 21 was so 20, right here. 2020 was number one. 2020 was the record. That was the year we had all the Greek names, remember? 2020. I don't know do I still sell the Greek shirt? I had a Greek shirt. It's all Greek to me. Did I take it off? Maybe I did. Bummer. Why did I take it off? I don't know. Maybe I wasn't selling any. We had a Greek shirt that had all the Greek names on it. Maybe I got it on there. I just didn't. Maybe it's not highlighted. No, maybe it must be off. Oh, here it is. All Greek to me. So this year, remember, there's my boy in the. So we had Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Zeta, Eta. Remember all that? Omega. Remember all the names? That was a cool shirt. You got to admit, that was one of the best designs, man. The toga party. So I still sell it apparently. Anyway, so then 2021 came around. It was the third most active season, and then we had Ida that year. Most people thought 2021 was a bust, even though it was the third most active season we ever had. It made it all the way to W, I think. It's just funny. That's how people react, If it doesn't affect you, then you think it was a bust. But in reality, 2021 was, we went all the way to Wanda. So we used every name up. There was 2021. Ida was the most memorable. We did have another hurricane there, 14. What was that one? Nicholas. God, I don't even remember that one. Nicholas. How come I don't remember that one? September 12th to 15th. Does anybody remember Nicholas? I mean, I talked about it, I'm sure. But anyway, Ida was the big story that year in August. major hurricane. We got dueling snoring dogs right now, by the way. Hey, Jeffrey, what do you think about Ryan Seacrest taking over Wheel of Fortune? Oh, yeah, the Greek shirt. That's cool, Mary. Thank you. Kevin, I think we're going to see. Listen, I think we're going to see a lot of major hurricanes. I do. I see that just because of the water. I'm worried about the Western Atlantic. Let me tell you why. Okay. Andrew began in a very strong El Nino year, as did Dorian. The time that Dorian and Andrew became around, we were kind of transitioning out of El Nino. So the argument, and I even got a tweet back from Brian Norcross. He firmly believes that we were still in El Nino effects during '92, and he's the big dog with Andrew. Whoa! There goes another one of them again. St. Lucie County. Everybody's phones are going off. All right, let's take this moment to turn off your phones. Well, read it first, obviously, if you live in that area. Not telling you not to read the alerts, but I'm not in that county, so. But I always read it. Whose phones just went off? The whole world's. Oh, you got one 10 minutes ago, Shelly? Why do they issue heat advisories at 3:30 in the morning? First off, I never hear the damn thing, so if it's anything important, I'm in trouble because I sleep through everything. But, Ben, correct, there's always more shear. Well, there's a lot of shear this time of year regardless. That's why July is always slow. There's a lot of winds, competing winds from the north and the south. We have the strong trade winds and we have a strong jet stream to the south. So it's very hard in July to get systems. Typical. All right, so Florida phones went off again. St. Lucie County. And now I can't even go back and look. Was that right? St. Lucie County? We had one yesterday go off too, or 2 days ago. I don't know about you, but we have these signs in Pinellas County that always talk about like silver alerts and stuff, and they're always like a car, like, you know, silver pickup truck with this tag or something. Or, you know, this person's whatever, we're looking for this truck. I don't know. They always say, they're always like, be on the lookout for this truck or this car or whatever, you know. And I'm always like fearful that I'm going to look up there and it's going to be, oh, a white Silverado with this tag. And I'm like, that's my tag. Hasn't happened yet, though. So, all right, so here's what I'm seeing with these El Nino years, which is very interesting to me. A lot of wind shear down here. Seems like El Nino years has very little activity down here. Now, we did get Ivan and Charlie come through there. But what I'm seeing a lot with the El Nino years is Dorian, Andrew, that was Joaquin, Andrew, Dorian, Jean, Francis, and Florence, and of course Michael. So see a pattern here. It seems like to me we just during El Nino years we see a lot of storms in this Western Atlantic, and we see fewer storms down here in the Caribbean. And the Gulf's always worrisome. Always. Especially when the waters are hot. It does not take long. I know I say this a lot, Katie Haley. I say this a lot. If you were to say, Mike, what's the most fascinating thing about the hurricane season? To me, it would be this. the continental U.S. has had 10 storms that were 150 miles an hour or greater that have made landfall in the continental U.S., not anywhere else, just continental U.S. Storms that made landfall when they were 150 miles an hour or more. Of those 10, 9 were tropical storms just 3 days out. That, to me, is unbelievable. So that tells you how important modeling is, spaghetti models, future forecasts, intensity models. I showed this during the YouTube video yesterday. Joaquin, 2015, the first NHC forecast had it to only be a depression its whole life cycle. Only a depression. And it ended up being I think Cat 4, if I'm not mistaken. Huge. And Dorian originally was only going to be a tropical storm, I believe. I think Michael's first forecast might have been even a tropical storm, maybe. So, man, intensity forecasts, you got to pay attention 3 days out. Harrow gets alerts for redneck and deer and elk crossing. Well, Jamie, I remember forecasting Dorian, and common sense, I remember saying that word, common sense, like where it was going, looking at shear, going over all that warm Western Atlantic water. It was like, why won't this develop? Like, you just knew it was entering an area of, conditions that would allow intensification. And the original forecast, to me, let's look at this real quick. Let me pull this up here. You can always Google any storms graphical archive and see what you want to see. So let's look at 5-day. No line. Hit stop. Let's go back to the beginning. So here's the life cycle of Dorian. Is this Dorian? Dorian. All right, this is Dorian. So it's expected. So here's the deal with Dorian. The big unknown was crossing Hispaniola. I remember this now, and it made that little gap. What do they call that gap? Bobby, are you watching? Our buddy from Jacksonville, Dabu. I can't ever say his name right. Is it the Monage Passage? I'm getting boring in my old age. Now I'm talking too much weather. No. There's some little passage between Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. But anyway, so they expected Dorian to dissipate. Now, I think it was because of the mountains, and it never did. So what happened was it did cross. Now, look at this D. It was supposed to be a D over the Bahamas. D means depression. And as we know, it wasn't. Then a storm. 5 days out, storm. Still a storm almost 4 days out. I mean, they didn't predict it to be a hurricane for a while. And then all of a sudden, I think, it did pass Puerto Rico. That's right. It turned at the last second, went into Puerto Rico. It just shows you how, man, you got to pay attention to those models. And we saw some of these models showing that intensity. Weather-wise, real quick, let me just show you in a nutshell what's going on in the weather world. Here's a 3-day forecast. It's kind of hard to follow, but starting now, just normal stuff. We got a big blob coming down. There's a cold front coming down this weekend. That's kind of hard to see that graphic. So we do have heavy rains expected through the weekend on the upper Gulf East Coast side. I guess let's look at storm prediction. So right now, we do have a pretty significant storm going on in Oklahoma. I don't even know how to navigate my own site. Where the hell is the radar at? Right here. Google radar. All right, so let me show you what's going on right now. So we had little popcorn storms. I did post an interesting thing this morning. So if you were wondering what that graphic was this morning, so we have coastal rains this morning. We have two high pressure areas out here. One here, one here. This high pressure is kind of flowing things this way. This high pressure system kind of flowing things this way. So all the winds are basically west coast, west winds. And that's what kind of creating these coastal rains this morning, if you're wondering. Whoops. The storm's going on right now. You're not leaving, are you? Where are you going?
Get into my water bottle.
Oh, okay. So this is what's interesting right now. So we got two different storm lines right here. Look at this. Pretty significant. Pretty strong. This is going on right now. I think we showed these yesterday in our daily brew. This was going through Oklahoma City. Kind of weakened a little bit. And this one's going through Omaha. Both with O. It's an O morning. It's Cheerios. Hey. Dogs. Who remembers eating Cheerios? Texas still getting some blob rains. This is right now. That's going on. So this is definitely, panned out. Houston, Corpus Christi getting a little bit this morning. Some of this is drifting up. This is that leftover blob. I'm just leaving the blob up here, Bobby. I like golf blob watching. We're always watching blobs. So new section to the site when there's no tropics. Golf blob watching. Weather coming up. Let me show you real quick. Then we're going to talk about maybe tropical wave coming next week. Still on the plate. Here's today. Here's tomorrow. Things get interesting Sunday into Monday. Boom. That's a large area. So if you got any plans Sunday, like I said, upper Gulf, not really Florida as much. When I say upper Gulf, it kind of means upper Gulf. But a lot of folks on the East Coast, we have a lot of people watching. So that's Sunday into Monday. There's going to be some storms. Cold fronts bowing down, pushing storms. So you want to keep an eye on things on Sunday across the south. A lot of area here could be seeing thunderstorms Sunday, and that means rainfall. Daily rainfalls, very hard to pinpoint daily rains anywhere in the south, in the east because of normal weather. But here's today, here's tomorrow. Now the main focus here is this big old blob here. There's Saturday, and then Sunday, there it is. So that's been showing up for several days now. So again, Sunday, we could see some heavy rain in the upper Gulf Coast. This is going to hang around Monday. Might dip more into Florida on Monday. And just kind of linger for a couple days. Long-range tropics. That wave coming that we were talking about for a long time, still kind of there. We're looking at a wave right now exiting Africa. It might reach the islands first middle part of next week a little bit. The long-range maps are not showing much development. So as far as long-range tropics looking, there's just nothing really popping to talk about. We do have people down on the islands. So it does appear that our wave will be coming off Africa, which you can see it right now. The only thing on the tropics map, and I did share this morning too, there is a wave right now, right here, near the Lesser Antilles. And there's one coming off Africa now. So this little guy might make its way here around the 12th and 13th. So let's put on the old map here and show you what that could look like. And there you go. That's what we've been talking a lot about. Here's the 11th and 12th. This is next week. So midweek Tuesday, that African wave might make its way across and just be a rainmaker. But we have a lot of people watching. So we could have some rain Puerto Rico midweek. Rains across Hispaniola. Maybe making Jamaica by Thursday, Friday of next week. So that's the wave coming off of Africa right now. Here's the wave right now that we just saw. And that little guy is going to try to make its way through there. So nothing other than that. Sal is our Saharan air layer, which is pretty significant right now. This is what it looks like. We have currently a lot of dust across the Caribbean, Puerto Rico area. This is current. You can always see my Fox Hurricane right here. They has a big, great animation on their site. That's currently. Really dramatizes it. Dramatize. I'm thinking cruise. But anyway, my Fox Hurricane's got this on there, and you can see this next big old blob of dust on its way, which is very impressive. Very large plume of dust. So this one here is coming. This is tomorrow, Saturday. So that's a big. Remember, this stuff gets lifted off of the Saharan air deserts, rides across with the trade winds across the Atlantic, and dries up the atmosphere, helping deter tropical development. Very, very, very normal in the month of July. And it's going to be reaching the islands here over the weekend, probably more like Sunday, but that's a big old plume of dust. And it's probably going to reach Bahamas and Florida. This is the 13th. So you can see next week, hey, two things we're looking at right here. One is, if there is a wave coming off Africa, it's going to be somewhere around here. That's a lot of dust, man. So likelihood of this thing developing is slim right now with that much dry air in the atmosphere. But the thing I'm really watching more than anything is that by the 13th of next week, we could see a big old dust plume reaching the Gulf and Bahamas and Florida, maybe getting up into the Gulf of Mexico. And then another one's coming. So the dust is relentless. And it ain't going nowhere. And that's very normal for July. If you look at July activity here, the month of July, very low. This is the month of July right here. This little stretch here to here. Very low activity when compared to the rest of the season. So July is slow. Don't let your guards down. Like I said, 2004, we didn't have a system until August. And last year, we didn't have anything in July or August. So this is very normal. We just got to watch the water. And that's it, really. Anything else we can talk about? Spinach. Oh, I don't have Facebook Messenger, Chris. If it was me you're talking to, I don't think I have it. Shall I talk about subscribers? Yep. Appreciate all the subscribers. We have a lot of perks. Please check them out. They're on the website here. You can. It's cheaper than a beer. And we give away perks. Heck, even the $4.99 a month subscribers, we still mail a Christmas card to and a sticker, just for saying thanks. So you can check it out. How to be a subscriber. Buy a shirt. Helps pay for the beer fund. All right, that's about it. Anything we missed? Canadian fires, Gail? Well, let's take a look at Zoom Earth. There's a lot. That's what I thought. Very active across Western Canada right now. Very active. These are out of control. 1 million acres here. Donna Creek Fire, FS1 Fire, Smith Fire. So I can't even imagine what 1 million acres looks like. I mean, that's got to be huge. So any low pressures that we get across here is going to be drifting down in the middle part of the U.S. You can already see a smoke trail here across Montana. This is actual smoke in the atmosphere right here. So if you can see it right there, that's smoke incoming from Canada. We had a lot more on the eastern side when we had that low. It appears maybe they're not as bad, but when we had that low pressure not too long ago, that's what was spinning in these big dust piles. So all right, cool. Well, listen, next week we'll be back at it, and the following week I'm out of town, but we'll be taking my mobile setup with me in case there's anything to talk about. But we're just getting ready for peak season time, right? So anyway, stay cool out there. It's hot. Bonnie's getting married in October. Hey, congratulations, Bonnie. All right, Vicky Hill, good morning. What's up? All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, we love you. Don't forget to check out my TikTok channel. I think I finally figured it out. My video yesterday had almost 65,000 views, so that's pretty cool. So I actually post weather over there. I tried dancing. Nobody wanted. Nobody liked the dancing. I tried goofy stuff. Nobody liked goofy stuff. They want weather. So we're going to stick to weather with an occasional goofy video. All right, well, TJF, everybody. If you're local, hit up TBBC tonight, and definitely your local ABC Fine Wine and Spirits, and party hard. All right, we'll see y'all Monday.